Hello, Gene the OK Boomer here. Welcome to this week's vlog. Time for another presidential approval and Democratic approval update. Big news on both of these fronts. I guess I should say at the outset, I don't always do this, but my almost always disclaimer, I'm a conservative. Always keep that in mind when you evaluate whatever I say, because what I'm about to say today has to do, well, there's good news and bad news. The bad news is bad news if you're conservative, and the good, well, bad news for America, if you ask me. And the good news is good news for conservatives. I mean, the bad news will always be that we're stuck with this president for another 3 years. It's agonizing for me as the days slowly tick by. Never mind to 2024, just till November, to the November election, the midterms. And even then, a new Congress, which I hope at least in one house, the House of Representatives, but possibly the Senate too. As I understand, in all the swing states regarding the Senate elections, that every Democratic incumbent is under 50%. So there could be some hope there. And as I was about to say, but we have to keep in mind that they could win the election in November, but they won't take office until January 3rd. And with this president, who knows how much damage he could do between now and then. Now, the bad news for America is that, well, the president was speaking the other day, and he referred to Oswego Lake in New York State. Now, what's the problem with that? The problem is that there is no Oswego Lake in New York. No one knows where that came from. There is no such lake. And then he had also talked about, in some earlier appearance, about, it could have been the same one, but I think it was a different one, about putting a dead dog, when he was a child, putting a dead dog on a Republican's porch. The reason that doesn't bother me, you can see I'm smiling here, is because I don't think it happened. That's the other problem with Biden, is he could be charitable because he is demented. And I guess that's the good news. He's, as you can see from these two examples, the dementia isn't getting any better, but it doesn't seem to be getting any worse. He's just as demented as usual, and refusing to take the Montreal Cognitive Assessment test that Trump took and scored 100%. And by the way, 38 senators, all Republicans, of course, sent a letter to the White House urging him to take the test. I think he really has to, just to assure everybody. Again, Trump took it. I don't see why Biden wouldn't take it, and there was no reason for Trump to take it, just as there was no reason for him to be impeached twice. I predict that there will be plenty of reason. Well, there already is, to defying the Supreme Court order to enforce the immigration laws on the border, the southern border. He's defying that order. That alone is grounds, in my opinion, for impeachment. But I'm getting off subject. What I want to talk about today is approval, or should I say disapproval. Now, the first one, now we know that Biden's approval is bad. He's consistently in the low 40s. In the Rasmussen poll, I'm going to be referring to Rasmussen in a moment, not about the presidential approval, but he was at 43% today, but he was 41% yesterday, which would be Thursday. I'm recording this Friday. You're seeing it the following Monday after the weekend. But the lowest he's been is 38%, and that's what I'm looking for him to go down to 48%. But he always goes down to, say, 39%, and then he'll shoot up to 41%. And then, as we see from yesterday, Thursday, he's at 43. So it's a little frustrating for me. But here is another poll. This is of registered voters. I believe it's Quinnipiac. I'm not 100. I have to look it up to be sure, and I'll put it in the caption below if I can find it again. But again, the numbers I just gave you, those are Biden's approval numbers for the entire country. Now, what I'm going to show you now, let's put this graphic up here. This is state by state. This is Biden's approval state by state. And as you can see, he is underwater in 46 of 50 states. There are only 4 states in the union. Here they are: Hawaii, Maryland, Massachusetts, and Vermont. And the Vermont poll is the only one where he is at 50%. The other ones, he is below 50% everywhere in the country except for Vermont, where he is exactly at 50%. And in the 3 other states where he is underwater, I'm not underwater, where he is over, where he's treading water, his approval, well, we have it here: Hawaii, 49%, Maryland, 45%, Massachusetts, 48%. All of those are below 50%. They just happen to be higher than, well, here, 49% versus 41% disapproval in Hawaii, Maryland, 45 versus 43, and Massachusetts 48 versus 40. So overall, his approval is higher than his disapproval in just those 3 states, but still under 50%, which is not very good news if you are a Democrat. And it gets worse. This is another poll. Now, this is Rasmussen. So now we're talking about Rasmussen, but it's not presidential approval. It's the generic congressional ballot. And it's, if you're voting for the House of Representatives, whom would you vote for? For which party would you vote? Usually even when the Republicans win, when they do better in the House of Representatives, they are often or usually still behind the Democrats in the generic congressional ballot, just the way the voters are distributed among the country. You might have, say, 48% of voters will vote for the Democrat, and 43% say they will vote for the Republicans, and still the Republicans win. When the Republicans pull ahead, that is very serious because it's so rare. And if Republicans sometimes win when they're behind in the generic congressional ballot, it means a lot when they are ahead. And when they are ahead, it's usually only by a handful of points, maybe 3, 4, 5%. I think there was one time when they had a double-digit lead. But look at this. I'm going to read you the first 3 paragraphs here, and I always link to the articles to which I refer so you can read for yourself. So here we go. Generic congressional ballot as of February 18th, 2022. The 2022 midterm elections are now 263 days away, and Republicans have a 13-point lead in their bid to recapture control of Congress. The latest Rasmussen Reports national telephone and online survey finds that if elections for Congress were held today, 50% of likely, and these are not just registered voters or all adults, 50% of likely U.S. voters would vote for the Republican candidate, while 37%, which is very low, would vote for the Democrat. Just 4% would vote for some other candidate, but another 9% are not sure. Republicans, get a load of this. Republicans have added 4 points to their congressional advantage since January, when they led 48% to 39%. The current 13-point GOP lead matches the November survey, but Democrats are now 1 point lower than they were in November. So there it is. Just wanted to share that with everybody. It doesn't look like it's getting any better for our friends on the left. And as a matter of fact, you probably heard about the San Francisco school board members. This was the board that voted overwhelmingly to rename 42 schools, including, to make them more woke and politically correct, including schools named after Abraham Lincoln, because he didn't show enough concern about, get this, about black people, even though the Civil War, the Emancipation Proclamation, I mean, that's how crazy these leftists are. And the school board, they got three members were overwhelmingly recalled. There was a recall vote, and it was only 3 members because the way the rules work, only 3 could be recalled at that time, and at this time. And one of those 3 members, by the way, was the chairwoman of the board. So 3 are gone, and sooner or later the other ones will be coming up for to possibly be recalled. So we'll stay tuned. As I say, for Republicans or conservatives such as myself, I'm actually an independent. It just gets better and better. The only bad news, as I said at the outset, is that we have to endure 3 more years, or 263, well, no, I mean, about 3 more years of the Biden administration. We have to deal with this. Unless something happens, he could be impeached, which would give us President Kamala Harris. So chew on that for a while. But in 263 days, we'll have an election that will hopefully at least he'll become a lame duck president at the following January 3rd, for sure, unless he radically changes direction, as Clinton had the good sense to do. But I don't think, never mind good sense, as I said, I think this president is suffering from dementia. He has no sense at all, no sense at all. Just repeats whatever's fed to him in a teleprompter. That's basically him. And except I think he's able to order his ice cream cones by himself, because I think he gets the double chocolate chip or something. But if he orders the same thing over and over, then he should be okay. I guess on the ice cream cones, it's the rest of the country that has to worry. So on that cheerful note, thanks as always for stopping by. I really appreciate the time that you spend with me. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions for future topics, you can put them in the comment section below the video. You could also share the video with anybody you think would benefit from it. You could subscribe. I love getting new subscribers. But most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. I look forward to seeing all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.